Thank you everybody for coming. Today, we're talking about how Speechcraft helped my club and can help you guys too. So today we're going to go over this quick agenda here. We're going to have a brief overview of Speechcraft just in case you guys aren't all up to speed on it. How Speechcraft can increase your membership, how it can improve your club quality, how can it improve retention. Then we're going to go over a couple of case studies. Not only my own club, Toastmasters, but I found another one, Eloquent Engineers. And they offer a pretty good case study as well. Then we're going to talk about jump-starting your Speechcraft journey. How can I help you get that going? And we're going to have a whole bunch of resources to help you get up to speed and make sure that your Speechcraft goes really well. First, a few questions. Who had never heard of Speechcraft before today? 4 people had never heard of Speechcraft before. Same with me when I was here at the TLI 2 years ago. I had never heard of it. And we were trying to figure out ways to improve our membership. And when I heard of Speechcraft and I heard the Speechcraft Care talking about it, I signed up for one of the free kits. Never look back. Who has never run Speechcraft before in your club? Pretty much everybody. All right. Now, good audience then. Who is considering Speechcraft for the first time? Good. Hopefully, the rest of you will raise your hand by the end of the day. Who's here just to get a free kit because you already know you want to? All right, good. Whoa. Amazing. One guy, all right. So, Speechcraft Overview. Speechcraft is a 4, 6, or 8 session workshop. You can either hold it inside or outside of your club meetings, depending upon what that means for your club. For example, if you meet once a month, I wouldn't really recommend taking up 4 months of your club to do Speechcraft. I would definitely recommend it if you're doing it weekly, because then you can get it done in a month or 2, depending on how far you're going. But in general, if you're inside the club, I would recommend it only doing it if it's weekly. Otherwise, you might want to find some other time to do it, meaning after hours, on the weekends, whatever it is. And of course, how much can your club deliver? Let's say if you decide we're going to do it in the club, but then you're only meeting twice a month, 8, and you want to do 8 sessions, you feel, we're really going to go for the gusto and get the most out of Speechcraft as possible. We're going to go 8 sessions. Well, that's going to take a long time. That's really going to put a taxing toll on what your club is really capable of doing. So it has to be something that you have to think about. Teaches fundamentals of public speaking. You go over the first few competent communicator speeches in Speechcraft. You increasingly fold in more and more of the meeting roles. So you're getting people accustomed and onboarded to the Toastmasters process. It has a very strong mentoring aspect because every participant in Speechcraft is a brand new Toastmaster. They've never been in Toastmasters before. And everybody has to have a mentor so that they can go ahead and follow through and execute on those particular speeches. We don't want people really failing in front of a group like that when they're the focus, right? It's very similar to a normal club meeting. You have a very structured agenda with guides and workbooks. I have a bunch of them right here. So for example, here's a workbook that every participant's going to get, and when you are the one running it, you get one of these coordinator guides, and in it explicitly lays out each of the individual agendas. And so it tells you what needs to happen and who's going to do what. Gives you a bunch of tips early on. Here it is, session 1, and it gives you an agenda right here. Then it breaks down every little portion of the agenda. So you might think, this sounds like a lot of work. Speechcraft, oh boy, that's hard. No, it isn't. I'm telling you, it's really easy because it's laid out for you. You're told exactly what to do and how to do it. You have targeted educational speeches as well. Of course, you're trying to onboard and ramp up these brand new Toastmasters, but early on in the first session, it's all educational, meaning the current experienced members are giving educational speeches and trying to teach the brand new people what Toastmasters is all about. It's kind of like an open house or a demo meeting kind of a thing. Very structured. And then the next meeting, you have people give their icebreakers, for example, and you give educational speeches on how to organize your speech. And then in each of the subsequent sessions, there's somebody from your club will give an educational session to try to help people with their next week's assignments. And of course, the participants do more and more each session. First, they do the icebreaker, then they do the organized speech, that kind of thing. They're also, over time, they're doing table topics, and eventually they're evaluating each other. By the end of Speechcraft, they're doing pretty much most of the work. So just in a few sessions, all of a sudden you've onboarded this new group of people, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, however many you can handle, into running a whole meeting by themselves. It's great for new or non-Toastmasters. In fact, that's what it's for. So you can have, for example, you could get a membership drive going, and once you get a handful of new people in, let's say you started a membership drive on September 1st, and you, whatever it is, open house, you do some flyer drops, whatever it is, you do some demo meetings at nearby businesses, you get a whole bunch of new people in September. And then in October, you do Speechcraft. So it's great for new Toastmasters, but it's also good for non-Toastmasters, meaning if you wanted to promote Toastmasters to a particular business or something, then you could do that. You could say, hey, we're offering a workshop. You could do that for any number of reasons. It could be used to start a new club. Let's say you're in the process of starting a club. You have like 2 experienced members. Then you have like 18 brand new members. Might be a good idea to onboard these people. And this is a really good onboarding process. So you train a lot of new people quickly, and you get help from strong Toastmasters in the area. You're only going to have a couple of experienced people. Go ahead and talk to your area director, go ahead and talk to your division director, and just reach out to the nearby club and say, hey, we're trying to get this new club going, can you help us out? It can be used as an educational tool as well. Now, we had talked about how most of the time this is going to be in the club and you're trying to increase your membership, and that's kind of what this whole talk is about. But you could also consider Speechcraft if you are trying to do some kind of thing like a community outreach. If you want to help educate whatever, if it's, who knows, an old folks home or some college students, something like that. You can also, if I put interns here, why did I put that? Well, I got a call a month ago, and just when I became the Speechcraft chair, and it said, hey, we want to do Speechcraft. And I said, okay, great. And I said, tell me all about it. I said, well, we're going to bring a bunch of interns in, and we want to get them up to speed on communication so they can be more effective interns. And I said, interesting. So yeah, that's a thing. You could also do it as a fundraiser for the club. You can, now when you think about a communication or leadership workshop, you can charge a lot of money. Think about Dale Carnegie or whatever. But when you'll think about the price of these. These are just a couple bucks each. And of course, if you sign the pledge today, you can get the whole kit for free, right? But anyway, these books are only a couple bucks each. But you could charge $20 or $30, and if you get 5 or 10 people in, that's a lot of money for your coffers. Maybe you have some sort of ideas for your club that you'd like to go splurge on, or when you think about it in the sense of you hope they all convert to new members, but if they don't, you just netted a whole bunch of money, right? So let's say you have 5 people sign up for Speechcraft. 3 of them join, 2 of them don't, and you charge $20 each. Let's say the 3 people that joined, you say, we will put your $20 that you paid for the workshop towards your membership fee. Then all of a sudden they have their membership fee paid for. And the other 2 people that, for whatever reason, didn't want to continue, your club just netted $40. Fantastic. So how can Speechcraft help your club? We talked about a bunch of different ways you might want to think about Speechcraft, or starting a new club, whatever it is. But we're going to focus more on how can Speechcraft actually help your club. Speechcraft increases membership. Right down here it says, Speechcraft is your club's #1 membership building tool. This is not my quote. I'm not the one coming up with that. That's Toastmasters International. Who here wants to increase the membership of their club? Okay, so the #1 membership building tool is Speechcraft. There you go. Ideas? Here's one. It gives a set time of when to visit. A lot of people, how many times have you heard, I've heard of Toastmasters before, but I just never get around. I always forget about it, or I really need to make it out to a meeting, right? That happens to a lot of people, maybe people in this room that put off going to a Toastmasters club for weeks or months or even years, right? Well, now you say, hey, we are going to start a Speechcraft workshop where you're going to be onboarded real quickly, and you're going to be a stronger speaker very fast, and we're going to start it on September 1st. That gives people a date and time. Like, okay, that's the meeting I want to go to. So it gives people a set time of when to visit. Another thing is it entices people to visit and join. If people are, maybe they've never heard of Toastmasters, you put up a Speechcraft flyer and say, hey, you want to build up your confidence, be a better communicator, a better leader? Come to a Speechcraft workshop. Other things, another thing to think about is if people have heard of Toastmasters, they maybe even attended a meeting or 2 at other clubs. But when they see that your club is running a Speechcraft workshop and doing things a little bit differently, a little bit more interestingly, they might say, that's the club I want to join. So it's really going to entice people, give people a little extra something to want to visit and join your club. It also increases membership because people are going to enjoy the experience. It's not just your typical meeting, which of course is all nice, fine, and dandy, but they're going to enjoy this experience a lot more. It's going to be more interesting. It's going to be catered toward them. And they're going to get a stronger education. It's great to hear about, your latest vacation or your newest cat. It's great if you want to give a 5 to 7 minute speech on it. I'm sure people are going to say, wow, that guy sure waxed eloquent about his new car. But it might be a better experience and a better education for new people to hear about how you're supposed to give introductory speeches, how you're supposed to give an icebreaker, how are you supposed to organize a speech, how are you supposed to answer a table topics question, how are you supposed to give a proper evaluation, things like that. And Speechcraft gives that to people. Speechcraft also improves club quality. When I was club president, like I said, or like my convener had said, our membership had dropped precipitously. We had kind of been resting on our laurels, and we had been kind of going down, down, down. We lost a couple people who had a lot of energy and who had given a lot to the club. Those people coincidentally just moved. One person moved to Arizona to take care of his in-laws, and another person moved to Yellowstone to take his dream job as a Yellowstone park ranger. It's just kind of a weird coincidence. And when that happened, we even lost more people. So like, oh, those high energy people, those really strong members, they're not here anymore. So we even lost a couple more people. We were down to about 11 or 12 people, and I said, okay, we really want to improve our membership numbers, but the number one way to do that isn't just to put out a blast and try to attract people to join or to be a guest. We want to make sure that when they come, they have a very good experience. We'll have high club quality meetings, right? That was really, really important. In fact, I call that much more important than just getting the word out. So yes, improve club quality while you're trying to increase your number of guests. If you bring people in and it's a poor meeting, they won't join. If you put on a good meeting and you don't get the word out, no one's going to come. So you kind of have to combine them. But club quality is more important to improve than just getting out the word. Okay? I want to make that really important. So how does Speechcraft improve the club quality? New members are onboarded quickly. Who here joined and was kind of lost for a while? Maybe they didn't have the best mentor in the world, whatever it was. Maybe they just didn't quite buy into it particularly well. It took me a couple of years before I really got around to finishing my communicator, for example. And when we ran Speechcraft, we all thought to ourselves, and we said it aloud, like, boy, I kind of wish we had this kind of program when I joined, because it really gets people off their duff and gets them onboarded to the process quickly, so they figure it out. Not only are they figuring out how to give a speech better, but they're figuring out Toastmasters, and they're a much better member. It helps you get competent communicator credit. When you join as a Speechcraft participant, you're going to be giving a handful of speeches from the competent communicator, and you can take up to 3 of them from Speechcraft right into your competent communicator. So imagine when you join, maybe you're giving 1 speech every other month, something like that. How long did it take you to get those 3 speeches out? Maybe half a year, right? Everybody that joins Speechcraft will have 3 speeches done in a month. That's great. Really, really springboarding people to getting their competent communicator done. And it really springboards the whole club toward the DCP. Maybe those people won't finish their competent communicator this year, but this year's Speechcraft participants should easily be able to finish next year. All of a sudden you have your whole new influx of competent communicators for your DCP ones. Another way that Speechcraft improves club quality, we've talked about the new members. What about the current members? It gives you leadership practice for the established members. For example, it is going to give people a lot of mentorship tests, right? Every participant should have their own mentor. And that means that people are going to be put on the spot and say, hey, we really need you to pull through and pick yourself up and say, how am I going to be a good mentor? And there's tips about how to do things, and when you get the kit, there's tips for the advisors, stuff like that. So it's going to give people a lot of mentorship practice. It's also going to build stronger leaders in general, because not only are they getting that mentorship practice, but you're getting out of the normal agenda of the meeting. You're doing something a little bit different. You're trying yourselves in a slightly different way than usual, right? It also gives you advanced communicator gold credit. Does anybody know the requirements for Advanced Communicator Gold?
Complete competent communicator, advanced communicator bronze, and advanced communicator silver beforehand. And then you have to give 2 complete manuals, 10 speeches. In addition, you have to have completed one, well, it's a Speechcraft or another success leadership or success communication.
Everybody familiar with this pamphlet here? Expanding Your Horizons? You ever see it whenever you order anything from Toastmasters? You get these a lot. Expanding Your Horizons gives you a list of a whole bunch of different workshops that Toastmasters put on. Anybody name, so Speechcraft is one of them. Can anybody name any others?
Evaluation is one.
Art of Effective Evaluation, yes. Anything else?
There's 2 in leadership.
2? Yeah, there's like, I forget the name of it, but there's like being a better leader, and then there's a second one of that.
Running effective meetings.
Running effective meetings. And parliamentary procedure and action is a big one that I think is important. But of all of them, as much as I think a lot of them are great, I feel that Speechcraft is the most applicable to most clubs, and it's something we do every single year. So you have to be Advanced Communicator Silver. You have to fill out 2 advanced communication manuals, and you have to run a workshop from Expanding Your Horizons. Speechcraft fits the bill. So if you're looking to go ahead and get your Advanced Communicator Gold, you're looking to try to get your DTM at some point in time, Speechcraft is definitely going to be something that you're going to be running into as far as trying to figure out what workshop I should run. Speechcraft improves retention. Retaining people is a smarter venture than trying to find new members. Finding new members is a lot of work. You have to go reach out to people who aren't coming, who aren't looking for you necessarily, and you need to reach out and get the word out somehow. Each club's different. But that's what you have to do to get new members in. Retention is just keeping the people that you have. The churn in Toastmasters is pretty heavy, and it's usually connected to how their experience is going. Are they meeting their goals? So you really need to focus on retention as part of your membership plan. I think of retention as probably the most overlooked aspect of anything involving club quality and membership, that kind of thing. How are you going to retain your members? If you answer those questions well, then you're going to have a much stronger club anyway, because you're going to get people who are achieving their goals and who are happy to be there and are highly engaged. Speechcraft improves retention. Improving retention keeps membership high. If you have, let's say you only have 5 people, who here is a low membership club, maybe under 12. Okay, let's pretend you have 10 people in your club. And boy, we really don't want to go down. Now, if you never lost anybody because you have really high club quality meetings, right? You'll stay at those 10. But then if people start trickling in, if you do Speechcraft, you get 2 more people to join, 12, 13, 14, you keep that retention there. It might take a long time to get up to 20, 25, but you're going to keep the membership numbers up because you're having really high quality meetings. Who is the most likely person to quit a Toastmasters club? Anybody? The newest member. The last person that joined, kind of a last in, first out kind of thing, if there are any fellow programmers in here. The last person that joined is the most likely person to quit because they don't feel engaged. They don't feel like they're a part of the club. They don't quite get it. They don't have good mentoring. Things like that, right? That's why people quit early. A lot of times they don't tell you, they just kind of disappear, but that's why they quit. They don't feel engaged right away. And they don't feel that they're making a lot of progress. They don't feel like they're meeting their goals. They might not even understand what their goals are. Maybe they aren't getting proper mentorship, whatever it is. So how do we prevent that? We want to get them engaged early. When does Toastmasters recommend that a brand new member give their icebreaker speech? Within 3 meetings? I've heard 2. So somebody joined today, and you met every Saturday, you'd be giving your icebreaker speech on August 19th, according to the Toastmasters recommendation. A lot of clubs don't do that. We used to not do that. When I had heard that recommendation and thought about how you really want to get people engaged as opposed to hold their hand and make sure they're not feeling scared, then we flipped and we said, let's get them on the schedule earlier. And again, our numbers are a lot higher, our club's a lot stronger for it. So get them engaged early. get them speaking early, help them see that they're progressing quickly. And if they're competing against other new people, it's going to be a little bit more comfortable. Let's say the greatest Toastmaster, Harold or Diane or whomever, is giving a speech, and it's a new guest's first meeting, and they see that, they're like, wow, what an amazing speaker. I'm not going to be able to follow that. Forget this. No way. I have cold feet. No way. But if they were competing against other people who've never given a speech at Toastmasters before, they might feel a lot more comfortable. Speechcraft does all of these things. It gets them engaged early. It's geared toward them. It gets them to speak early. The second session, they're giving their icebreaker. Shows them their progress quickly. They're having evaluations, their mentors talking to them, and they'll be able to see from week to week to week. If you're giving a speech every couple months, it might be hard to gauge your own progress. But if you're giving a speech week to week to week, you're going to notice those things a lot better. And of course, other people that are there, they're not going to be particularly good either. So you're going to feel a lot more comfortable. You're going to be in a really safe environment. Safe to fail, safe to do your odds and ends, and maybe not deliver the best speech that you're capable of giving. All right, now that I've thoroughly convinced you all that you definitely all want to run Speechcraft sessions, let's talk about case studies here. Again, TechMasters is my own club, and if you notice here, like I said, we tanked membership for a handful of normal, weird reasons. We were out resting on our laurels, and it says 15, but that's who paid on April 1st. By the time July 1st rolled around and I was president, we were down to 11 or 12. I said, what am I going to do here? I hate this direction that we're going. We need to go back up. So I put my nose to the grindstone and I listened to as many people as I could, came to the TLI, I heard about Speechcraft, and I said, we got to do that. I proposed it to the club. They said, fantastic idea. And we've had gone to some technical conferences. We're all IT people, mostly programmers. And we had gone to some technical conferences before, but rarely. And I said, we got to do that a lot more. So it was conference season, right in the fall. And I said, how about we go to like 3 or 4 conferences? We get a nonprofit booth. They let us go there, right? And we pass out Speechcraft flyers and we talk about TechMasters and Toastmasters and stuff like that, sure. But we're telling them this is the best time to join because we're going to run Speechcraft and we're going to be inducting all these new members and onboarding them really quickly. So it'll be the best time to join. And then we got a handful of people to come to our club in October, and we got something like 5 or 6 people to be in our Speechcraft, and we did a great job. Everybody loved it, and we said, boy, we put this right on our club timeline. Who has a club timeline? Oh, club timeline. Ooh, boy. All right. Anybody know what the Club Leadership Handbook is? Good. Well, hopefully the rest of your hands will go up at some point. But the Club Leadership Handbook has something called the Club Timeline in it. You can find the PDF version of the Club Leadership Handbook. And you can, that's exactly what I did, copied the Club Timeline out of the PDF, put it into a document that all the members can access, and I tweaked it. I said, what do we want to do? What do we do differently? We go to those conferences, I say, at this time of the year, reach out and make sure we can still get a booth at these conferences. Put it on the club timeline in October. We have Speechcraft in October because there are conferences in September for technical people. So in October, we run Speechcraft. And we put things, holiday parties. And this past year, we did our first award ceremony at the last meeting in June to talk about how we did in DCP, new members, stuff like that. It was pretty fun. So we put all the things that we're going to do, and you get half of that right off the bat. Just copy it right out of the Club Leadership Handbook. So anyway, when you decide when Speechcraft is going to be run, put a note in the club timeline, like, hey, let's start organizing Speechcraft to be started in September, whatever it is. Okay? So we put it in our club timeline. We're going to be doing it every October. And the results were fantastic. Everybody loved it. All the participants loved it, even if, 3 of the 5 joined or whatever. We thought it was a great experience. We got a lot of experience doing different things, not doing the same kind of stuff all the time. We really weren't resting on our laurels. We tested ourselves, and we got a few new members out of it. So it was fantastic. We did it again the following year. We had 6 participants, and again, great results. We want to keep doing it. I was looking back at some of the other clubs that were doing Speechcraft, and I came across Eloquent Engineers. Anybody from Eloquent Engineers? Probably not, because nobody raises their hand when they're like, I'm just here for the kid, I don't need to be here. I was looking at what they were doing. If you notice, they had this huge lull in DCP. They weren't particularly good before. To be honest, no one of anybody, but 5 is pretty easy, right? I got, when I was club president, I got advanced communicator bronze, and let's see, advanced leader bronze, and a competent leader. That's 3 points by myself. That was easy. And we had all those new members in the year, if you notice. All these new members. That's 2 more points right there. That was it. That's all we needed. This past year that you can't see, we had 9 DCP points, and we were distinguished by December and all that great stuff. All right. 5, pretty easy. This isn't particularly impressive. But something went wrong in these few years. They lost some members, and they were not doing very well in the DCP. Somewhere in here, they decided they had had enough of that. So they started doing Speechcraft as well. And they've done Speechcraft 4 years in a row, and bam, 7, 7, 7, 8, 29. So now they're distinguished every year. They're getting select distinguished every single year. Fantastic. Now that you know everything you ever need to know about Speechcraft, you're all completely, thoroughly convinced that you're all definitely going to be running Speechcraft, right? Yep, lots of valid hands. Great. Now, how am I going to help you jumpstart your Speechcraft journey? I will give you a free yes.
I was shaking my head. No, I don't know everything I need to know.
Well, there will be a Q&A. 5 minutes though, so ask fast. Anyway, so jumpstart your Speechcraft journey. A free Speechcraft kit to a $20 value. Wow. But what I'll need from you, there are some forms. Do we have some in the back? Very good. Yep. There's some in the back, and there should be some up there. Speechcraft.
Only 2 left up there. I grabbed the rest.
Yeah.
A bunch of them already filled out.
Great, fantastic. Well, better hurry up because they're running out. All right, so what I'll need from you is who you are, your email address, club name, location, start date, and sign the pledge. Why?
Accountable.
Yes, that's right. Not only am I going to hold you accountable, I'm going to make sure you actually do this so I don't just throw this. I have a budget and I'm blowing the whole thing on these Speechcraft kits. So I'm going to give you one of these things. I'm going to do it. And, of course, I'll help you. I'm going to make sure that it's a success. I'm not just going to say, here's a kit, check it later. I'll make sure that you do a great job. I'll make sure that you have all your questions. All your questions are going to be answered if you take one of these kits. I will present during your Speechcraft. One of those educational sessions or whatever. Probably. Depends on when you meet, where you meet. Anybody from like Thunder Bay or something? Not coming. I live in the Twin Cities. I have a pretty flexible schedule. I'm a programmer, so I could code at 11:30 at night. Doesn't matter. So I have a pretty flexible schedule, but no guarantees for sure. So I'll probably present it as Speechcraft. I get to film it, and I get to put it on YouTube. I have a couple videos on Speechcraft already. I'll give you a link to them. But my goal is to get a whole competent communicator this year on Speechcraft. And most of those will be educational sessions on what it is. So for example, organizing speech will be on organizing speech. How your body speaks will be how your body speaks. Stuff like that. But I have a couple of them. I have the icebreaker already. I did that as part of the communicating on video. I did that for Speechcraft to present other ones. You could either use that in your club. For example, you go, oh, that's a good educational speech for icebreakers or whatever. You could present that, just plug it in, turn it on, walk away, and say, hey, there's our educational speech for the meeting. So that's a big help for you. But you could also just use it as a means. So maybe it might be a little awkward, or maybe you want to get your speech out of the way, you want to engage your members. Just go ahead and take a look at what I did. No big deal. And of course, I have sample YouTube videos, like I said. I did that, and I just did Inspiring Your Audience. I took a small portion of this speech, broke it down on Wednesday, and gave it at a club as Inspiring Your Audience. I've thoroughly inspired all of you to do Speechcraft, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't say no, and if you say no, I'm not going to let you leave. So. I'm so good at inspiring people. We're fine.
The group squad is outside.
Exactly. All right. So to recap, Speechcraft increases membership. It increases membership because it brings people in. It's going to onboard them quickly. They're going to be what they're really going to want to be converts. You're going to have a very high conversion rate on these new members. It's going to improve your club quality. Not only is it going to improve your membership and your retention, but it's going to improve your club quality because you're going to have better new members. A lot of times the new members are pretty weak for some time, right? Months or years even, before they're really like, boy, that guy got strong after a while, right? It's going to onboard them a lot more quickly. They're going to see their progress, they're going to be tested a lot more, and they're going to be jump-started on their journey. They're going to be invigorated to want to be better members as well. It improves member retention, like I said. When you have people who are engaged quickly and they're seeing their progress so quickly, they're going to want to stay in your club. And the people who have converted from Speechcraft are valued members of our club. Someone who was in our Speechcraft 2 years ago was our Vice President of Membership this year. Very strong member. And of course, ask me how to get a free Speechcraft kit. You gotta fill out that form, and I'll help you all out. So if you have any doubts at all whatsoever, you're thinking to yourself, we can't do this, we're not ready for it, I will put those to bed. Okay? Here are a whole bunch of resources. I did make this presentation available, so if you didn't want to take a screenshot or write down 50 different links, you could just write down this one, and then you could get this slide deck. Then you can just go click them there. But all of these links, notice bit.ly links, bit.ly, those are case sensitive. So capital S, capital W, whatever. So, of course, your district's Speechcraft chair is a really good resource. That's me. Also, Toastmasters.org, Education and Speechcraft, going to give you all the important links to go get a kit and what things you should be doing. And the Speechcraft flyer is a template that you can use. You can download it, and then you could type in your club's name and where you meet and stuff like that. So you don't have to come up with some crazy flyer like I did because I didn't know this existed. You can just take the template and go ahead and put your club's information on it. Boom, get yourself a great professional looking flyer. Print it out on high quality paper instead of junky stuff. If you checked out the Speechcraft booth, I printed out the flyer to try to convince people to take it back and convince the members of the club to run a Speechcraft. Put it on high quality paper because it looks 1,000 times better. It's not even close. There's an elevator pitch I found by a distinguished Toastmaster, somebody running a district somewhere, about pitching Speechcraft to possible participants. Speechcraft training. There's actually some district put on like an hour-and-a-half training on how to run proper Speechcraft. Right now, I'm just trying to convince you all to run it because it's a really good idea. I'm not actually telling you how to do it right now. Of course, I'll help you do that, but hey, check it out. Go to the Speechcraft training video here, and you can get like an hour-and-a-half session, much like the sessions you've been seeing today, on how to properly run it. The what and why. This is more of a, again, trying to convince people about what it is and what it's all about. You could show that to your club members, that kind of thing. How to succeed, successful Speechcraft, again, kind of a training video. So that's something that to check out if you're trying to figure out how should we do this? What kind of tips can we get to run it very effectively? My videos, I made a playlist. There's only a couple right now. There'll be another one once this gets up there. And then, of course, all the Confident Communicator videos that I make, I'll put up there as well. So over the course of the next few months, that'll get loaded up. And you can have all the educational sessions, something to maybe view, not necessarily play at your club, but you'll be able to take a look at it. For example, if this gentleman here assigned this woman here to give a speech, let's say he's the coordinator, and she says, you're going to give the educational speech in week 1. Here's a video example of what to say and do. There you go. Now, it's really, really, really easy. A lot of people think it's going to be hard. It's actually really easy. And, of course, this presentation, like I said, all these links are case sensitive. But if you go to this one, you can just get this slide deck, and then you can click them there. All right. That's all I've got for you. All right. We have a few minutes left here for Q&A or really super constructive criticism. Yes?
Yeah, could you just explain who your target audiences are? You mentioned earlier, I think you were focused in on the tech people, you know, or the cat lovers group, or the group of students. I mean, is Speechcraft, does it work better if it's targeted to a particular audience? Or could you just say, put it on the public library and just say it's open?
He's wondering if there's a target audience or something for Speechcraft. It's really non-members or new members. There's nothing specific. Maybe we might have catered some things to the IT crowd because we were reaching out to people who would want to be members of our club. If you have a focus on your club, if your club has a focus of some kind, you should probably target those people. We have a focus. If you are in nothing connected to IT, you barely know how to turn on a computer, it's not going to make a whole lot of sense when I go talk about the latest JavaScript framework. You know, if I'm talking about, I don't know, dependency injection, somebody will get up and talk about dependency injection for 5 to 10 minutes. Not a word of it's going to be understood by the majority of people. So we're going to really try to target the IT crowd. Okay? So in general, non or new members. And you can do it as an educational thing, just as an exercise to at a library. You can say, hey, you could be a fundraiser or just to try to put the feelers out to the community to let people know that Toastmasters exists. Yes?
The only response I would have to that is if you are starting a new club, you might want to have a target audience and communicate that. But for adding members to your club, whoever you would want in that club is who your target audience is.
Especially if you're going to add members to the club, you would want to focus on people who can make it to your meetings. A lot of times people talk about doing stuff, oh, it's hard for people to make this meeting, let's do it at a different time. If you're trying to bring those people in and they can't make it to your meeting, that doesn't make much sense. So if you're really trying to get people into your meeting, I suggest doing it during your normal meeting time. You first. Yep.
Is the pricing up to the sponsoring chapter then?
Yep, he's wondering about pricing. Yep, pricing is up to the sponsoring chapter and could depend on a number of factors. Maybe if you had to get some sort of reservations or if you wanted to provide refreshments, food to entice more people, that kind of thing. Also, if you're not getting a free kit, then you're going to have to pay a couple bucks per workbook, no big deal. It's typically lower, usually around the $20, $25 range, but I've seen it go over $100. I don't know what they're doing, but they might be 8 sessions, they might be giving them food, maybe it's an advanced club and everyone's a distinguished Toastmaster and their training's going to be a lot better. I don't know. But I've seen it where it's over $100 and people are joining, so whatever. But typically I see 20 to 50. Yes?
So I'm still confused about what this actually looks like when you come into a session. I mean, the focus, and maybe I can just read it, I'll always links. The focus is, I understand, is new and non-members is what you're saying. But what I also hear you saying is, if you're a weekly club, you're going to do it during your weekly meeting.
Yep.
So how much of it is focused on the needs of the person who knows nothing versus the other people who will be in your meeting and maybe already have their competent communicator?
Well, he's wondering about, how much of the focus is going to be on the new people versus the experienced members. The focus for the new members is learning how to give basic communication, basic speeches. The focus for the experienced members is to move past that. How can I mentor people? How can I be a stronger leader? I understand a lot of people are concerned about just giving speeches and getting better as a communicator. But a lot of people, myself included, start to understand that the leadership aspect of Toastmasters is way more important. And if you ask people, why did you join Toastmasters? They typically are going to say they wanted to be a better communicator. They want to be a better speaker. But if you ask, why did you want to be a better speaker? They're going to answer in some way that says, I want to be a better leader. So again, once you get past those first few speeches, the focus will be on not only being a better leader, but you are going to give speeches. You are going to give educational speeches. You are going to run table topics. You are going to have a Toastmaster, stuff like that. Yes?
So just to follow up, what's the minimum number of new members you think this can be effective with? I mean, let's say we do all the promotion in the world and 2 people sign up. Is it a waste of time? What if it's one person?
A very interesting question, and it's something that a lot of people are going to come up with. He's wondering, what's the bare minimum of people before we decide this is a success? Is it 8? Is it 4? Is it 2, for example? Now let's say 2 people come in. If you have, again, low member clubs, who would like 2 more members?
Yeah.
Is that not a success in and of itself? You didn't get 8 people like you wanted. You got 2. Is that good enough? So from a membership perspective, you spend a couple weeks planning, a couple weeks promoting, and 4 meetings at bare minimum of running a Speechcraft workshop, and you get 2 new members out of it, just for that endeavor, regardless of any other random guests that walk in the door. To me, that's a success. And that's just for the membership aspect. There's more to it than that. Again, somebody's going to get credit for Advanced Communicator Gold. You're going to build better leaders. You're going to improve your mentorship program. Who here does not have a formal mentorship program? Actually, you might not raise your hand. Who here does have a formal mentorship program? Even if it's kind of sort of.
It's wimpy, it's weak, but we have one.
Okay, a good number of hands. That's good. I'd say if you have a poor mentorship program, that's way better than no mentorship program. If you don't have an idea when somebody joins, like who assigns what, or if you care to assign a mentor, you're way off. But if you have,
We assign it, but mentors don't always follow through and are always very.
Yep. so that's just a point of improvement. But the fact that you started it is great. And Speechcraft will get the onus on people like, look, you got to do this every single week. We need to do this for the month. And if we don't do this, the meeting is going to be totally abysmal. So you need to do your job on this. So you're going to really improve the leadership there. And someone's going to get credit for advanced communicator gold, which is kind of a tough thing. Like you go through the normal speeches, because typically the communication track is pretty easy. You just give your speeches, right? But then when you get to advanced communicator silver, you have to give 2 special speeches, like how to be a distinguished club or moments of truth or something like that, right? Then when you get to gold, you have to give a workshop. Which workshop are you going to do? I contend that Speechcraft is the most valuable. Not just today because I'm the Speechcraft chair. I always think that. Yes?
Is there a maximum number of participants you would want to accept?
Is there a maximum number of participants that you should take? That depends on the club and the amount of time that you have. And you can change the meeting from time to time. For example, one time when we had 6 people, when I was the coordinator and when we were going through the meeting, they had 6 people giving speeches, and I'm watching the time, and I'm like, ooh, we're going to run out of time here. We need to let people get to work, because we meet at 7:45 in the morning on Tuesdays. We need to let people get to work. And I cut out an educational speech. I turned to him like, you're not giving a speech today, sorry. So we cut out his educational speech and the evaluation of it, saved 10 minutes, and then I went and found a video of the same speech from the year before and sent a link to it to everybody that was participants. Said, please watch this video about instruction to do that. And of course, I'll have that video at some point in the year that you can just pull up. So again, you can really modify it. You certainly don't want to say 15 people in Speechcraft. That's too many. We're gonna have to turn some of you away. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you feel that you're having troubles, again, modify your agenda. Find a way to extend your meeting, whatever it is. And if you're like, boy, we got 8 members and we got 6 participants, how are we gonna run the club and mentor everybody like that? Reach out for help. Whether it's me or your area director, your division director, who have a really strong interest in keeping your club from dying. As well as just people in neighboring groups. Say, hey, you help us out, we'll help you out. We'll go to your contest and be judges for you if you help us to run Speechcraft. Yep.
We had one Speechcraft, typically a good number is 6 to 8.
Mhm.
You can be fairly effective, you can run the meetings well. We had one time 16 people signed up, 3 more showed up, we had 19 show up the first week. It was not effective. We divided them into 2 groups, went into other rooms, they lose that connection that you want them to have
Yep.
with the team, and the team was subdivided, so you do need to seek help if you get over the 8.
Phenomenal problem to have, though.
It is an awful problem to have. What's been effective is to
That's
limit it to
phenomenal.
8. We say the first 8 to sign up, and then do a really good job with them. And if you have a lot of people, say we'll put you on the waiting list, and maybe you have one 2 months later then.
You can do that. Another thing you can do is channel them to another one. Go check out the district calendar, find a nearby Speechcraft. Maybe yours has 12 sign up and you can only handle 7. Send 5 to the other one. Because I've seen a Speechcraft with 2 people that signed up. It was effective in the sense that they joined, and one of them is an officer on the club now, so that's great. And this club went from 4 or 5 members at the beginning of last year when I was area director, convinced them to do Speechcraft amongst other things. Yeah, 16 people now. It went from 4 or 5 people to 16 in a year. Last question?
I was curious about how much time we should give to promotion and getting people to sign up, the public relations side of it.
Mhm.
What would, as far as pre-planning, knowing that you have to promote,
Mhm.
how much time should we give that?
So how much, you're wondering about promotion, how much time should you give? The one that already ran this year, he wanted to do it the next week because they didn't have to reach out to anybody. It all depends on the situation. They didn't have to reach out to anybody. They're just going to slam their interns in there over lunch. So that was pretty easy. But planning and PR should be anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks. But for sure, you don't have to have everything fully planned. Get a flyer ready, start putting them out. And then you can finish your planning. So you have weeks in advance, multiple weeks, not one, but hopefully at least a month, I would say. And come up with a strategy. Put it around part of your membership building drive. You should have a membership building drive of some kind. not just Speechcraft. And put Speechcraft at the tail end of it. You're advertising it during your open house or whatever. Put Speechcraft at the tail end. Got a few new guests. You're convincing them to join because of Speechcraft. Then all of a sudden you got 4 or 5 participants because of the hard work that you put in. So I would say at least a month for promotion. Planning shouldn't be as difficult, but they do need to be ready. You gotta have a strong coordinator. I think that's gonna be it. We're out of time. Thank you for coming, everybody.